Hey everybody, so today we're doing our XY booster box and card market update video to get right into it. Base set, we'll start off with that. There's not a lot of data on TCG Player. We got to go to eBay. The lowest listed is 1600 Canadian right now, plus shipping and tax. Moving on, we have Flashfire. Again, not a ton of info on TCG Player. On eBay, the lowest listed is 4150 Canadian, plus shipping and tax as well. Then we have Furious Fists, again, another box with no info on TCG Player. The lowest listed is 5,000 USD, which is 6140, or excuse me, 6841 Canadian. So a $5,000 box right now on eBay is Furious Fists. Then we have Phantom Forces, again, no data on TCG Player. On eBay, there's actually none listed right now, but we did have a couple sales this month. So we had one June 18th for 3,147 Canadian plus shipping and tax. And then we had one June 16th for 2,941 Canadian as well. So around a 3,000 Canadian box, which is a little over 2 grand USD, I believe. Next up, we have Primal Clash. There are sales on TCG Player for this. It's sitting around $550. June 24th and June 30th, we both had sales for $549.99. So there you go, Primal Clash. Then we have Roaring Skies. Again, this is staying pretty flat as well. We do have sales June 18th, 20th, and 22nd for approximately $615 a piece. So that's a pretty standard price for it right now. Ancient Origins. There isn't a ton of sales on TCG Player. We had one June 20th for $1,000. I did look at eBay and it's pretty similar to this, the lowest listed box, so I didn't want to bring it up, but that is a fairly accurate price, somewhere between, $950 and $1,000 USD. Next up, Breakpoint. We did have a sale June 2nd for $600 essentially right there. Then we have Breakpoint. This one, not a ton of sales either, but June 6th, $750. I do think that's actually a fairly accurate price based on eBay data. Next up, we have Fates Collide. We have no sales for the month of June on TCG Player. I went to eBay. Lowest listed is 500 USD plus shipping and tax there. Then we have Steam Siege. This one's slowly creeping back up to around $400 now. TCG Player Graph has it at $375, but most recent sales June 13th, well, I guess June 9th, $385, June 13th, $396, and June 26th, $400, $399.99. So Steam Siege is back to being a $400 box. And then finally, Evolutions. I did say in the last market update video to keep an eye on this one. I believe it was around 820 when we were talking about it. Most recent sales, June 13th, 845.96. On the 15th, we had a couple sales at 846.97. So back up to around an $850 box is Evolutions at this point. Before we look at the cards, I just wanted to jump in here and say that 65.1% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. If you guys are enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe. If we hit 5K before the end of the year, I will open that Silver Tempest box on stream and give away the hits. Now, moving into the cards, there aren't a ton of cards for this month that I figured were worth looking at, but I did pull out a few of them. So the Mega Charizard EX from Flashfire. This one's actually tanking. So as you can see, it was up around 400 bucks. Now it's down to around 330. Most recent sales, June 27th for $250. And June 28th, these are near mints, obviously, for $249. So this one is definitely seeing a downturn quite rapidly over the past couple months. Maybe, some market manipulation going on here. Who knows? TCG Player data could be all over the place as well, but, I'm just going off most recent near mint sales. It's not looking too hot for the Mega Charizard EX right now. Next up, we have Lucario EX. I figured I'd bring this one up. TCG Player Graph doesn't show that it's moving up too much in the past month or so, but as you can see, it did make a big jump from around 35 up into the 50s over the past few months. And if we look at most recent sales, it does seem like it's going higher when we find the near mint holofoils. You do have to go down here a long way. So yeah, the most recent near mints that have sold, $97.99, $99.99, and then $60, and then one for $41.76. So that was way back June 11th. A lot of those sales were. So maybe this card is moving into the 60s now. We'll have to keep an eye on it. The Lucario EX from Furious Fist. Then we have the Dialga EX Secret Rare from Phantom Forces. I wasn't going to talk about the Gengar, but it's fairly flat. This card is actually slowly moving up. As you can see on the graph, it's sitting around 220. If we go in and look at more sales and find the latest near mint hollow foil, June 13th, there was a sale for $249.99, so around $250. And then the most recent near mint hollow foil before that was way back in May for $200. So keep an eye on this one. It doesn't sell too often, but it may still move higher over the next couple months. Next up, Primal Groudon EX from Primal Clash. This one, again, it looks like it's made a small move up from around 67 up to 68. And if you look at most recent near mint hollow foil sales, 68.65 on June 26th. Before that, we have to go all the way back to May 24th, where it was $70. So it does seem like it's stabilizing in that $70 range. And if you look at the chart, like you keep moving out, it is slowly moving up. Like obviously over the past few months, it hasn't done a ton, but before that, it did have a fairly large move. This one will probably continue to slowly creep up. I don't imagine it's going to go too much higher after the move it made in early 2023 to late 2023. Then we have the Rayquaza EX. This is the one from Roaring Skies, the not super popular one. Again, TCG player data doesn't show that it's moving too much. If we go into more recent or more accurate data, the near mint hollow foils from June 24th, 43.15 and 54.99, so around $55. And then you had a near mint as well June 17th for $53 essentially. So TCG player has it around $45. Most recent near mint sales would put it over $50. Keep your eye on the Rayquaza EX from Roaring Skies. Then we have the bigger one here, obviously the Mega Rayquaza EX from Ancient Origins. This one seemingly is still moving up big over the past month. Went from around 164 up to around mid 170s. If you look at most recent sales data, June 19th, near mid hollow foil sales 164.74 and 170. So it is breaking into that 170 barrier. If we zoom out and look at the 1-year chart, it did hit a low, towards the start of the year around 135, 136, and it's back up over its 1-year high. So that is good to see. A couple more here. The Alakazam EX from Fates Collide. Again, TCG player data doesn't have it too much higher than 50, which I think is fairly accurate. If we look at most recent near mint sales, you had one June 28th for $59.99. You had one June 26th for $61.59. And then one for $60, one for $62. So most recent sales, obviously you had one for $45.39 as well. But most recent sales is putting this over $60 at this point, which is a bit higher than the TCG player graph, and would essentially put it up 33% on the month. So not too bad there for the Alakazam. And then the final card we'll look at is the Mega Charizard EX. This card is actually the most valuable card in Evolutions. Currently now it's overtaken the Reverse Hollow Charizard or whatever. So yeah, you can see that slowly creeping up, nothing crazy, but it has moved from, the low 140s, or excuse me, not 140s, low 40s up until the mid 40s over the past couple months. And most recent sales, near mints, June 28th and 29th, 45, 40, and 46.49. So it is a mid $40 card at this point. There you guys go. That's all I got for you guys this month. Obviously, we look at, some of the specialty boxes like Generations and stuff in the specialty ETB set, so I didn't bring all that up. And, the data for a lot of those ETBs and stuff is really all over the place just because they're quite rare. They don't move as often, so it's not super important to track it all the time, but it might just be me being, kind of a bit lazy at times. But at least to me, it doesn't seem super important just because it's not a booster box. It's not a high-selling item. But you guys let me know if you want me to cover the specialty sets in XY as well. I can throw them in next month. Just let me know in the comments. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I think that Furious Fist at $5,000 right now, pretty interesting on eBay. And then Phantom Forces as well. If you own a box, there are none up on eBay right now. So this might be a good time just to throw one up at a, slightly inflated price, maybe closer to like $3,000, and just see what happens. I mean, there's none on the market, and if someone wants one, they might be willing to pay up for it. So that's what I would be doing if I had a box like that. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.